Hi Greedy 3Ds, today we're going to be playing with the Neoblade. This is an ultrasonic cutting blade that's been sent to me for testing purposes, so test it we shall. Stay tuned.
Are you gonna cut me? Oh, that feels kinda nice. Neoblade makes cutting a total breeze. The secret to its smoothness is ultrasonic cutting technology. Listen. The vibration is auto-adjusting, according to various kinds of materials, so that it just makes every cut right to the point without wasting any unnecessary efforts. And there's a turbo dock for twin charging. Straight lines or regular curves. Easy peasy. Hard to reach angles or anything even more wacky. Neoblade slices through it all, from big complicated supports to tiny little ones. And with a built-in cooling fan, every cut is clean and smooth. And say goodbye to those pesky wires. Press and hold for quick, precise cuts, or switch to continuous mode for longer ones. You can handle any project, whether you're tweaking models or jumping into a DIY adventure. Battery running low? Just swap it out and drop the dead one in turbo dock. And it's not just the battery. You can swap out the blade in a snap. You've always got the perfect blade for the job. Neoblade lets you cut free and keeps you sharp and focused on whatever you're working on. With Neoblade, every cut is a masterpiece.
I'm a little bit of a sucker for a decent bit of packaging, and the Neoblade has not disappointed. An outer cardboard box, when opened, reveals the goodies inside. There are three main boxes that you will see when you open it up, and you can see they're well designed, it's well packaged, well put together. This is oozing quality, absolutely wonderful. You've got the fast turbo charging station, you've got the actual Neoblade as well, and then you've got this selection of little cutting tools. And here we can see first of all that this is the Neoblade. This is the fast turbo charging, 30 minutes you can have an uninterrupted power swap, and this is the little collection of blades. Now I need a little razor to get into it, but when you open it, wow, just look at the quality of that. Just look how beautiful it is. You feel it in your hand, it feels robust, it feels well made. It's absolutely a gorgeous, really, really lovely. This is small, but it's powerful. It's true wireless, so you don't need any wires hanging down. It's got a 40 kilohertz ultrasonic cutting action, replaceable batteries, auto power adjustment, 2 cutting modes. You can change quite a few of the blades, which I will show you in the end. And it's also got an LED light. In your hand it feels not too heavy. It feels like you could use this for a long period of time without worrying too much about the weight. It's very well balanced. It's got a fan as well to keep itself cooled down. I'm very impressed with the quality of that. There is a set of instructions in there. Again, nice to see them in English so I can have a browse through that when I want to, and all the breakdown of what it can do is in there. Inside the next part you will see the charging unit. Now this is a rapid USB charger. It takes around about 30 minutes to charge the battery, and it comes with a USB charger. My only gripe with the charger was that I had a little bit of difficulty finding a suitable USB-C port to charge it. In the end I needed my wife's Dell laptop charger, which worked wonderfully. I've passed all this information across to the team, and they are going to be looking at supplying a charger with the unit as standard. Now you can see there are some little lights on there. There are 2 series of lights, one for the battery and one for the actual Neoblade itself. So yes, you can charge both of these items at the same time. The battery in the Neoblade, you can see the 2 little connectors on it there. That will allow you to connect it directly into the charger there. Literally you just pop it in and it will begin to charge the Neoblade itself, plus also you're charging your battery. This is a true 30-minute swap over. The battery will last 30 minutes. When it does, you just take that battery out, put the new battery in, and away you go, continuous cutting. And then you can pop the other battery, the now flat battery, in, and 30 minutes later, because of the fast charging, that will be ready to go again. Wonderful. Also included is this 2-action device here, which fits nicely onto the charging unit. In this device you can actually get a hold of some spare blades that are spring mounted, and you can pull them out and you are ready to go with another blade. There's a little magnet there just to hold everything securely, and when you're finished with your blades and when you take them off the Neoblade, you just literally pop it in to the sharps box. And as a person who's been working with sharps for many years as a paramedic, it is really important to have somewhere safe to store those sharps. I thought I'd just show you it in action because really that's what we need to see, and I'm using an X-Acto knife first just to show you how difficult it is to cut through supports and small pieces of plastic on 3D printed models. There's no way that was going to come off or go through using a standard blade, but when I'm using the Neoblade, obviously now this is going to have a 40 kilohertz ultrasonic cutting action, and it just goes straight through it like butter. You literally just hold it on there and it will go through like butter. I'm also going to use it on a piece of cork. Now a lot of people use bits of cork to make bases for Warhammer pieces, etc., and sometimes this cork is quite difficult to cut through. Well, the Neoblade is making really easy work of it. I'm not putting any pressure on, I'm literally just holding the sharp edge on there, pulling it back, and look at that, it is straight through, no problems at all. I thought it would be just beneficial to show you me trying to cut that with an X-Acto knife. Now this knife here is very sharp. I put a new blade on it and I'm putting quite a bit of pressure down, and yep, it's cutting through some of the cork, but as you'll see when I turn it over, it hasn't cut through all the way through. The Neoblade did make light work of this. Next, there's quite a thick piece of cardboard and the Neoblade literally slides down it. This was quite a lovely feeling actually. It was just going straight through the cardboard without any sort of hesitation. A little bit of a push down, you can see that smoke is emanating from the cardboard. This is down to the ultrasonics doing its thing, so the blade can get a little bit warm sometimes, so you need to be a little bit careful of that. And I'm going to do exactly the same with an X-Acto knife just to show you how difficult it is to get it through. I'm pushing that quite firmly and it's just not going through. Even when I used a sawing motion, I was starting to get through it then. But again, this is a brand new, this is a sharp knife. It's just not cutting through with anywhere near the lack of resistance that the Neoblade is going through. Leather next, and trying to cut this with the X-Acto knife. Yeah, it's making a mark on it, which is good. I'm giving it a fair bit of force as I'm pushing it down, but using it on the leather, it just hasn't managed to cut all the way through. So let's try it with the Neoblade, see what kind of result we're getting. Again, I'm not pushing hard, I'm literally just dragging it down through the leather. Now I can feel, without waiting until I've done this all the way through, this has cut through the leather like it was cutting through a piece of paper right the way through. Wonderful. Next is just a thin piece of balsa. Let's see how it gets on with that. Again, you can see a little bit of the smoke coming off where the heat is being generated, and I'm not pushing too hard there. I'm literally just making sure that the sharp part of the razor is pushed against the wood and it is cutting down through the wood. Now this is quite a tricky thing to cut through, as you can quite imagine. It is balsa wood, it's not too thin, it's quite a sturdy piece of wood, and it is actually cutting through it without any sawing motion, without me having to apply huge amounts of pressure. It is just slipping down through the wood, and again this is down to its ultrasonic action, and you can see that it's doing the job. Now if your project involves you using wood, then you will have no concerns with using this on it. And again, using that knife, there was no way that was going to go through in anywhere near as easy as the Neoblade has gone through at all. Again, another victory for the Neoblade. I'm so impressed with this. Now if you want to change the blade, there's a little magnetic top on the safety end. You can see that underneath there's a little sort of screwdriver that connects nicely into the side of the Neoblade. You give it a little bit of a twist and the blade will just pop out. And obviously if that's now dull, you put it in your sharps box, get your new blade, pop it in, take your little screwdriver, give it a tiny little twist clockwise, and that is now back in the blade and ready to go with your next job. And that little cap, you're not going to lose it because it sits nicely right on the top of the safety end, and it's magnetically held in place with a click. You're not going to lose that at all. And there we go. Now, as well as the Neoblade coming with a fair few of the standard blades as spare, there are 6 other kinds of blades that you can purchase for all sorts of different jobs. As I say, this will depend on your hobby, what your interest is, to find the best blade for you, but I'm sure you have an idea of which one would be better for you. You're looking at standard blade, the long blade, chisel blade, mini chisel blade, curved blade, or double-edged blade. Now, the curved blade, the long blade, probably good for 3D printing, but of course, again, there are so many different kinds of hobbies out there that this will depend on which one you want to do. And as you can see there's quite a few materials you can use to cut through. Turning the Neoblade on is a simple case of twisting the battery to the on position. A little blue light indicates there's power, and there's 2 forms of operation. If you just push the trigger down, you'll get a temporary cutting action as long as you hold that button down, or if you want it more permanent and you don't want to be messing with holding it down, just slide it back and it stays on until you slide it forward and it goes off. Now, having a 3D printing channel, I'm going to be asked, will this cut through supports? Will it cut through support settings and basic plastic? Yes, it will in a nutshell. Here you can see me cutting through some fairly thick supports, and all I'm doing is holding the blade on it, giving it a little tiny bit of pressure, and it's just slipping through them. There's no sawing action, there's no excessive requirement to push down. The ultrasonic will just do the work with you just holding it on there and pushing it down. And for all of us who are 3D printers who really want to take care in removing our support settings and leaving as few divots as possible, getting them off can be a little bit of a nightmare. Well, this blade will make light work of the supports easy and quickly. Just look how easy it goes through this raft, which is quite a thick raft. It just goes through it like it's not there. It goes through it like butter. Now, at the moment, at the time of making this video, the Neoblade is actually on Kickstarter and it will go live on the 13th of May. So make sure you check out the link in the description that I'm going to pop through. This will give you all the pricing, all the information, all the details. If you're interested in getting hold of one of these Neoblades, I suggest you head yourself onto their Kickstarter campaign at this stage, follow on through and read through all the information that you're going to find in there. Everything you will need to know will be on their Kickstarter page, and don't worry, I'll be leaving a link in the description for you to follow. So what do I think of the Neoblade? Now, I've had a chance for a couple of weeks to play with it, to use it, to play with it on different kinds of materials and in different kinds of settings. Well, it's one of those things that I never really knew that I needed until it arrived and I used it. And now I've found so many versatile uses for it. I'm definitely just going to leave it on the side of my desk on charge, and when I need it, there it will be. And I think I'm going to be using it a fair bit doing what I do in my hobby. Now, the only thing I would say from a 3D printing perspective is, and again, this depends on how you use your 3D printing, and what you do post-process will determine how much you use the blade. If you make, for example, Warhammer figures, and you've got those little characters on their spriggets, I think that's what they're called, and you want to get them off, this is a wonderful tool to slice through exactly where you need it, easily and simply, and it will get your Warhammer figures off perfectly. If you're a 3D printer and you want to take supports off carefully, now there's 2 kinds, I think, of 3D printer. The ones that take their supports off meticulously and cut each individual one down, or there's the kind like me that just use a hairdryer or some hot water and peel them off. I think if you're that kind of person, you probably won't use it to get the supports off as much. And what I do find as well is when you do get your supports off in that way, you're left with tiny little bits here and there, and it's just as easy, I would suggest, just to get an X-Acto knife just to pop those little tiny bits off as it would be to use the Neoblade. If you've got the Neoblade lying around, however, yeah, it's a great thing to use. I think this is going to come into more of its own, as I say, if you like to cut the supports off meticulously, if you like to make Warhammer characters and you want to take them off the spriggets. I still don't know if that's the right word. Or if you just want to cut up bits of plastic or adapt your models, or you make other things like dioramas, etc., where you might be using leather, you might be using wood, you might be using plastic, you might be using all sorts of different things. And this thing is absolutely imperative. I think it's a wonderful bit of kit. Has it been made and constructed well? Well, I've got to be honest, just the feel of it in my hand and just looking at it and seeing how meticulously and it just looks beautiful, and I've not had any problems with it working at all. It's done what it said on the tin. It's cut, it's turned on, it's turned off, it's done everything it should have done, and it just feels nice in your hand. It's got a bit of weight to it, but it doesn't feel overly heavy. It's well balanced and it sits in your hand really, really well. A couple of gripes, I guess, from me. The big one for me was the charging, which I have raised up with the company, is that you can't just plug it into any old USB outlet and it will charge. It has to be a specific kind, and not everyone has access to that. As I say, I had to charge it using my wife's Dell laptop charger, which is quite a strong charging unit. Now, you may have USB chargers knocking around like that, and in which case it's not a problem. But I think the company are looking into it now, and they're going to look at maybe supplying an adapter that works out of the box rather than you having to hunt around for the correct kind of USB cable to work with it. So I think that's the only gripe that I really have with it of any note. I'm happy to have this sat on the side of my desk, and I will be using it frequently. I suggest doing what I do. If your hobby revolves around things like cutting, as I say, leather or little bits of wood, a little bits of plastic, you're going to use it all the time. I've got no doubts about that. Now, I'm no expert on ultrasonic cutting knives. I don't know what else is out there on the market. I suggest if you're watching this video, you may have an idea of what else is out there. And as I say, I'm no expert. So I'm not going to sit here and say this is the best one of all of them, because I don't know what's out there. All I can say is it's landed on my lap. I've unboxed it, I've played with it, I've tried it, and from my perspective it does absolutely everything it's promised to do. I like the fact as well you've got a quick charge, so it takes 30 minutes to charge. When your battery is depleted, it's a quick flick of the battery off, flick of the battery on, and you can just carry on using it flawlessly, which is really important if you're doing a long day's work. Well, let me know what you think about the Neoblade down below in the description. Make sure you check out their Kickstarter. All the links will be in the description, of course, for you to have a look. If you like what you see on the channel today, please subscribe, leave me a message to let me know what you think about what you've seen, and let me know what other alternatives are out there and how does this stack up to something you may already be using at the moment. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to join the Patreon, you can do that. I'll put all the links down below in the description, and I hope you've enjoyed that little overview of the Neoblade. I'll certainly be playing with it more, and as my videos go forward, I'm sure you'll be seeing me use it in those videos as we move forward. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time on Greedy 3D.